So designation of roller contact bearing. Here we are learning about the designation of roller contact bearings. So here ball and roller bearings have been standardized and are interchangeable. So here we are using number of ball bearings for certain purposes. So already bearings are standardized for certain things. So and the standard type of standard diameter, standard width bearings are available for the purpose of certain purposes. So directly if we want a particular type of bearing, so it has certain designations. So in general, bearing is designed by 3-digit number. Okay, the last two digits are multiplied by 5 gives the bore diameter in millimeters. So last 5 digits multiplied by 5 gives the diameter in millimeters, and most common ball bearings are in 3 series. One is 200 series, that is for the light bearings, 400 series for medium bearings, and 300 series for medium bearings, and 400 series for heavy bearings. If the bearing is designated as like 304, it indicates that it is a medium bearing, medium series with a bore diameter of 0.04 into 5, that is 20 mm. So if the bearing is designated as 304, nothing but it has medium series and the bore diameter of 20 mm. So here the choice of bearings depends on the condition under which they work. The most common factor are load and speed of the shaft. So next one is rating life of roller bearings. So here roller bearings, how we can select the roller bearings? So based on the life of the bearings. Life is nothing but, so here bearings may fail at the surface of balls and races due to the fatigue. So generally balls may fail at the races and the ball surfaces due to the fatigue, because there is a lot of change in speed. So that's why there is a lot of fatigue apply over the bearings. So therefore the load carrying capacity of bearing is based on the fatigue life of the bearings. So load carrying capacity of bearing is based on the fatigue life of the bearing. So the life of individual bearing is defined as the number of revolutions which bearing runs before the first evidence of fatigue crack in balls or races. So how much life the bearing runs without a fatigue crack on a balls and races is called the life of the bearing, or without before the first evidence of fatigue crack. So crack రాకముందు వరకు ఎంతవరకైతే లైఫ్ ఉంటుందో దట్ ఈస్ ద లైఫ్ ఆఫ్ ద బేరింగ్. So here the term rating life is widely used in industry for rating the bearings. The rating life is defined as the number of revolutions or hours at a given constant speed that 90% of apparently identical bearings will complete or exceed before first evidence of fatigue crack. The rated life is usually defined by L10 life. So L10 will be the rating life of a bearing. So generally if there are a group of bearings, almost all the bearings will not satisfy the life of the bearing. So in that 90% of the bearings may satisfy the life of bearing. That is nothing but before 90% of the bearings will work certain number of hours or revolutions before the first fatigue crack. The 10% may fail before itself. సో 90% ఏమో ఆ కండిషన్ కంటే ఎక్కువ వర్క్ చేస్తుంది, నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ రెవల్యూషన్స్ ఆర్ అవర్స్ విల్ వర్క్ మోర్, బట్ ఇన్ దట్ 10% విల్ ఫెయిల్ బిఫోర్ ద ఫస్ట్ fatigue crack. So that is the rating life of the bearings. In general, rating life is nothing but L10 will be indicated as rating life, means In that 90% will work for the certain hours which is given, but 10 may fail before the rated life. So that is what the rating life of the bearing. So here in this, next one is load carrying, static load carrying capacity. We have two types of carrying capacities, that is static load carrying capacity and dynamic load carrying capacity. The load on bearing when it is stationary is called static load. So when the bearing is in stationary position lo unnapudu, how much the load applies will called as stationary static load. The static load carrying capacity of the bearing is defined as the static load which corresponding to total permanent deformation of balls and races at the most heavily stressed point of contact. It is equal to 0.001 of ball diameter. So generally when it is at stationary position, at what particular, so here I said the ball bearings have a point contact, so that's why where the point contact will be there is a, so there the most stressed point will be the point at where the touches the surface. So here static load which corresponding to total permanent deformation of balls and races at most heavily stressed point of contact. ఎక్కడైతే పర్మనెంట్ డిఫార్మేషన్ ఫామ్ అవుతుందో అక్కడ అప్లై అయ్యే లోడ్ is called static load. So that is equal to 0.0001 of the ball diameter. The static equivalent load may be defined as the static radial load or thrust load. So as I said, there is two types of loads. One is radial load and axial load. So here which is applied to the bearing would cause the same total permanent deformation at heavily stressed point. So here we are talking about the equivalent load. Equivalent load means nothing but, so it is a combination of both. PR is the radial load, PA is the axial load. So WR or WA. So POR is nothing but equivalent load. Equivalent load equal to XO PR plus YO PA. So the PR and PA are radial load and axial load. XO is the radial load factor and YO is the axial load factor. So next important one is the dynamic load carrying capacity. When it is dynamic load means it is under the it is defined as the radial load in radial condition and thrust load in thrust bearings that can be carried for minimum life of 1 million revolutions. So 1 million revolutions lo entavaraikaithe load weigh chestundo that is called dynamic load carrying capacity. So it is a dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing is defined as the load that can be carried for a minimum life of 1 million revolutions. So minimum life of 1 million revolutions that can carry the dynamic load is called dynamic load carrying capacity. Here dynamic load carrying capacity, so equivalent bearing load is nothing but both P equal to, it has both, if the in general conditions what happens is it has both axial and radial loads. When there is axial and radial loads, equivalent dynamic load equal to X into V into FR plus Y into FA. Here X and Y are radial and thrust factors and FR and FA are radial and axial loads respectively, and V is the race rotation factor. So it is one when inner race rotates while the outer race is stationary, 1.2 when the outer race rotates and inner race is stationary. So generally V is taken as 1. T equal to dynamic load equivalent load equal to X into FR plus Y into FA. If it has pure radial bearings, it is P equal to load equivalent load equal to FR If it has the pure thrust bearings, it has only thrust load. If it is a pure radial bearing, then it has only radial load. If it has a pure thrust bearings, then it has only FA, that is thrust load. So that is the equivalent load. And equivalent load plus life, rated life relationship between the equivalent load and life. L10 is nothing but rated bearing life in 1 million revolutions equal to C by P over power of P. So that is P is equal, C is the load carrying capacity, P is equivalent dynamic load, and small p is 3 for the ball bearings and 10/3 for the roller bearings. So here design of simple journal bearings. So as I said, journal bearing is nothing but a small piece of material. So solid journal bearings are mostly used for low speed shafts subjected to light loads. So it is a block of material which has desirable properties and a hole equal to the diameter of the journal. The bearing may be required to operate continuously under full load for longer periods. The bearing pressure vary for different applications. So here you can see the table is given for the maximum bearing pressure for different types of applications. So those will be given in our problems. So here x and y is, so here you can see applications and maximum load, maximum bearing pressure and L by D. Here L, what is an L by D ratio? Here D is the diameter of the journal and L is the length of the journal, that is width of the journal. So generally what we need to design is, we need to find the diameter of the journal and length of the journal. So here as we know, bearing area equal to load by pressure. So bearing area is nothing but diameter of the journal into length of the journal. L into D equal to W by PB. So here W is the load which applying on the journal and PB is the bearing pressure. So in generally the L by D relationship will be in between 0.5 to 1.5. So they will give in the problem, and L by D ratio for particular applications is given in this table, you can see. So generally what happens is, when shaft rotates inside the journal, what happens, there is a, due to the friction, it generates heat. To artificial cooling may be provided if the generated speed is more than generated heat is more than the heat dissipated. Heat is dissipated by the lubricant. If the heat generated is more than the heat dissipated, we need to add artificial cooling also. So here you can see this simple journal bearing. It has a diameter, so that is the journal. D is the diameter of the journal and L is the length of the journal, that is nothing but width of the journal. So here you can see friction in journal bearings. So generally frictional force acts at a radius of friction radius of journal to prevent its motion. What happens is when there is a when there are two surfaces meeting with each other while rotating, what happens? Outer part resists the inner part to rotate because of the friction. సో బయట ఉన్న పార్ట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఇన్నర్ పార్ట్ రొటేట్ అవుతున్న ఇన్నర్ పార్ట్ని స్టాప్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేస్తుంది బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫ్రిక్షన్. సో ద ఫ్రిక్షనల్ ఫోర్స్ యాక్ట్స్ ఎట్ ద రేడియస్ ఆఫ్ ద జర్నల్ టు ప్రివెంట్స్ ఇట్స్ మోషన్. Thus for a given value of frictional force, the external torque is required to rotate the shaft will vary with the radius. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే బికాస్ ఆఫ్ దట్ ఫ్రిక్షనల్ ఫోర్స్ we need to apply more torque టు రొటేట్ ద షాఫ్ట్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద డయామీటర్. అంటే ఎంతైతే సర్ఫేస్ కాంటాక్ట్ ఉంటుందో అంత సర్ఫేస్ కాంటాక్ట్ని ఓవర్కమ్ చేయడానికి వీ నీడ్ టు యాడ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా టార్క్. సో if the surface contact is less, if the diameter of the journal is less, the contact will be less. When there is a less contact, we need to add less amount of torque. If we have more surface, there will be more friction, so that we need to add the more torque to rotate the shaft. So hence journal should be small in diameter and must consist with the strength and stiffness. Here you can see the torque equal to mu into W into d by 2, that is radius of the journal. Mu is the coefficient of friction, W is the load on the journal, and d by 2 is the diameter of the journal. And here there will be a power loss due to the friction because it is opposing the torque. So that's why what happens is there is a power loss due to friction. Here power loss P equal to 2 pi nt by 60 watts. T is nothing but the frictional torque. Because of this frictional torque, there is a loss in the power. Thus power loss due to friction P equal to 2 pi nt by 60. So next one is friction circle. So friction circle, where it has the force of friction at a journal opposes the motion, as I said, at an act on outer surface of the journal. So when the journal is at rest, the point will be at A. Point of contact will be at A. So when the journal rotates, what happens? It rolls up to here, this place, opposite to the rotation of the bearing. So here H is equal to, so the point will be changed to here. So this H is equal to R into sin pi. Here you can see H is equal to R into sin pi. The sin pi can be, pi is very small, so that's why it can be taken as tan pi. Tan pi is nothing but mu. H is equal to mu into R. The radius of the friction circle is depends upon the independent of load, and W independent of load W, and depends only on the coefficient of friction. H is nothing but the radius of the friction circle. So here what we need to design is, in the journal bearing you just need to design the length and width. Sorry, width of the bearing and diameter of the bearing, that's all. L by D you need to find. So next one is design of thrust bearings. The various types of thrust bearings are shown in figure, we were already shown. So general type is like flat pivot footstep bearing and collar bearings. There are two types we were discussed, that is footstep bearing and collar bearings. So while designing the thrust bearings, there will be the friction between the contact surfaces resists the relative motion. Here the magnitude of the torque to overcome the friction, we need to assume the two conditions. One is uniform intensity of pressure and uniform wear. So here first we were taking uniform intensity of pressure. here for the uniform pressure, axial load W equal to P into pi into R square. And frictional torque is 2 by third into mu into W into. So you just need to remember these formulas regarding the uniform intensity of pressure and uniform wear. So you can directly, first you need to find the load and you need to apply in the frictional torque. So after finding the frictional torque, you need to find the power loss due to friction. That's all. So here for the uniform pressure, axial load W equal to P into pi into R square. P is the pressure applying on the journal, that is bearing pressure, and pi into R is the radius of the shaft. Here torque equal to 2/3 of mu into W into capital R, and power loss due to friction is P equal to 2 pi Nt by 60. So this is for the footstep bearing. And for the collar bearings, it has two radiuses. It has inner radius and outer radius. So that's why for the uniform pressure, axial load W equal to P into pi into R square minus small r square. So that is small r is the inner radius and capital R is the outer radius. Because of collar has outer diameter, so that is capital R. So in R is small r is the inner radius and capital R is the outer radius. The frictional torque T equal to 2/3 of mu into W into R cube minus R cube by R square minus R square. So here what you need to do is you need to find the axial load. After finding the axial load, you need to find the frictional torque. After finding the frictional torque, you need to find the power loss due to friction. That is for the uniform pressure. And for the uniform wear, we have two things. So uniform wear frictional torque T equal to half into mu into WR, and power loss due to friction P equal to 2 pi Nt by 60. For collar bearings, frictional torque T equal to half into mu into W into R plus small r, and here and power loss due to friction is P equal to 2 pi Nt by 60. So you just need to remember the formulas regarding the uniform pressure and uniform wear, that frictional torque and the load carrying capacity, axial loads applying on the bearings. Okay, next we will see the some related problems regarding the bearings.